Hi there. I am Ron Collins, and this is day 3 of my conversations about artificial intelligence and the arts in some form or another. If you're unaware, this is a series of blog posts that I'm making that are in support of a Kickstarter project that, yay, just funded today, it looks like. So that's all good news for me. Hopefully it's good news for all the people who enjoy science fictional haiku and artificial art mashup. That's what this project is. And in the process, I've been talking about what this kind of thing all means to me, the thoughts that I've had as I've gone through making the project and things like that. And if you have read the blog post that goes along with this, you know that the title of that blog post is Heart and Soul. Fundamentally, can artificial intelligence be considered to even do art? Is artificial intelligence a form, a viable artist in that sense? Does the output qualify before it's all said and done? And I think this is a really interesting question. It causes a lot of people to get excited in both positive and negative ways, angry, thrilled, enthralled. And I think the fundamental answer, cutting to the chase, is yeah, I think certainly we can decide that artificial intelligence is doing something that we call art, but then it gets us into this definition. What the world do we mean by art, right? There are certainly some people, and I've seen them arguing very vehemently, that if there's no human in the loop, there can be no art, right? I think that's kind of a knee-jerk feel, and there's a piece of me that relates really strongly to that, right? I'm a writer. Without me, there will never be anything that I do. No one can actually create my work. Even an artificial intelligence that is trained on my work, and we'll probably talk about that sometime, because that's another key factor when we talk about artificial intelligence. It will never put something out that is me, right? It could sound like me or look like me or whatever, and so the question there comes: does a reader care? And maybe we'll talk about that also later. But what was striking me fundamentally about this definition is how human the definition is, right? It's kind of like, if you're not a human, you can't do art. And my brain, being what it is, immediately starts to spin out of control on that, right? Because as you'll see in the blog post, I've linked things where animals are doing art, right? Can they be counted on to do art? If it's not a piece of art that elephants or dogs or whatever are doing, I mean, what are they? Similar kinds of things. You read the blog post. There's just a gazillion things in there. Human, nature out there is something that I talk a lot about. I personally find a lot of artistic things in nature. Is nature an artist? There is no entity called nature. What is that? It was striking me to think back when I was probably a sophomore in high school. I had a friend who was a young woman who came walking into class one day, and she was just really high energy, right? I can't even say excited. She was just kind of glowing, right? And she sat down next to me, and we were getting ready for class, and she said, "Look what I made." And she handed me this, hard cardboard artboard, whatever, little thing, and it just had a kind of red, purple, pink splotchy thing and an orange squiggle and something else. And I looked at it and I said, "That's cool," right? And she said, "That's exactly how I feel." And I looked at her and I looked at it, and I went, "Oh, there you go." That was there's the definition of art for you, right? This thing that she just threw down in 30 seconds made her entire day, because that's just how she felt, right? So yes, she was an artist, she was a human being, but it's not like she was actually conveying something, thinking about conveying something. She just randomly did stuff. And when she saw it, it made her come alive, which is, I think, a definition of what art is. If you absorb something as a human being, and it makes you feel something, then that has been an artistic experience, anyway. So what I have finally come up to is that, in my mind, yes, something that a artificial intelligence does, I certainly can look at and consider it to be art, but it will be just a different kind of art. It's up to me to know what I'm looking at. And I think that's one of the dangers that people have, and it probably is a post that I'll make here shortly, is, from a longevity of the artist standpoint, that makes a difference, right? A human being looks at us, looks at what we do, and is moved, right? Is there going to be any difference when a human being looks at what a AI does, and does that matter to anybody else? I think that's a really key in defining line. But for right now, I mean, my point of view is AI stuff that I look at, I get fascinated with, and I consider it to be an art. But it is very different from when I look at a Bob Eggleton thing, or back in the day, Michael Whalen's covers would sell books right and left, right? You look at a artist today, and you know that they're human, and you come up with a different feel. I do anyway. That doesn't invalidate one or the other. The ultimate question in that sense, in my mind, I don't downgrade a human artist because an AI art can do something. I don't downgrade an AI art because it's not human. Go figure. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Everyone else can, when it comes to the actual act of doing art, those are my thoughts. Some of the commercial aspects and other things I'm going to get into later, and those are a little bit more dicey and ugly, or worrisome. Ugly is a bad word, worrisome. So anyway, while I'm rambling, I think I've kind of beat the pig into the dust. Is that how's that for an artistic phrase? Come up with on a random basis. Anyway, have a very great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.